Good morning, children. Let us see here the World Trade Organization, which is an international organization which supported by the countries in the world to liberalize their policies in order to increase the foreign trade. So we have seen that the liberalization of foreign trade and investment in India was supported by some very powerful international organizations. What is that organization? These organizations helped India also join with the global trade. So foreign trade also made possible with India through this organization or the international organization. So these organizations say that all such kind of barriers when tax to foreign trade and investment are harmful. If there are such kind of law enacted in any nation, it will harm the foreign trade. So it will not be possible the foreign trade. So that liberalization has to be taken place. There should be no barriers, no much higher taxes. Okay, so trade between the countries should be free. Then only all countries in the world should liberalize their policy. Then it becomes easy for the foreign trade. Transportation from one country to another country is possible. World Trade Organization, that is what WTO, World Trade Organization, is such an organization whose aim is to liberalize international trade. So international trade with all the nations becomes easy or free. Then it started the initiative of the developed countries, which America and other European countries, which are the developed countries, started such kind of a World Trade Organization. So WTO establishes rules regarding international trade, how the rules are also made, how the countries who join this organization has to follow some sort of common rules. Now they also, these rules observe, WTO observes that these rules are followed or obeyed by all the member nations. At present there are 164 countries. 164 countries of the world are currently members of World Trade Organization. Now through World Trade Organization, which is all this, we know that is supposed to allow free trade for the all countries, but in practice sometimes what happens, developed countries are more beneficial. They do not follow all the rules introduced by the World Trade Organization. So already they are developed nations, they have they do not follow all the rules and regulations of the World Trade Organization. Sometimes these are found, these World Trade Organizations find that all these rules are followed by the developing countries only, not developed countries. Okay, some example we can see, one of the example of this we will find how the trade practices are taking place. Okay, agriculture sector in India, we can say one best example in our country. The most prominent sector is agriculture sector, and large number of employment opportunities are available in the agriculture sector. That means bulk employment and portion of the GDP also comes from the agriculture sector in India. We know that more than 70% of people are working in the agriculture sector. So here the GDP also, the gross domestic products also largest with the agriculture sector only. Okay, so here in case of USA, America, we know that agriculture, the share in the agriculture is only 1% in USA. America has no the 1% of share only agriculture, and GDP of their country USA is 0.5% only. So we can find it is very small percentage of people who are engaged in agriculture in the USA but they receive massive sums of money from the US government for the production and also exporting to other countries. In our country, we know that the government aid to the farmers or agricultural sector is minimum, very less. But in USA, very 1% of the people are only doing the agriculture there. but government provides a lot of subsidies to the agriculturists so that they are able to sell their products very cheaply. Okay, the production, agriculture production becomes very cheaper because of the government policies. In case of India, we know that large number of people are farmers and they do not get sufficient subsidy or aid from the government, so that they cannot sell the goods in a cheaper rate. They have to, and most of the time they are suffering from the debt also. Okay, so here in India, farmers are unable to produce goods in a cheaper rate. Developing countries are therefore asking the developed country governments, we have reduced the trade barriers as per the World Trade Organization rules, but you have ignored the rules of the World Trade Organization. What is that? World Trade Organization makes the rules that goods to be exported to other countries with a cheaper price. How Indian farmers are able to export goods in a cheaper price? Because production cost is very high and government does not give any subsidy or any aid to the farmers. The production cost is very high. According to that, they have to sell the goods in the market, so they cannot reduce the cost. But in case of USA and the agriculture sector, very less percentage of people are working in the agriculture sector. Government provides all kinds of incentives and subsidy to the farmers so that they are very cheaply able to produce goods and sell in the international market also. So this is one example we can say how the rules of the World Trade Organizations have misused by the developed nations and what impact occurs on the developing nations. Okay, so now tomorrow we will study about what are the impact of globalization in India, what impact globalization has made in India.